everyone, once again welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you a lesson plan based on the topic multiplication of whole numbers by a 3-digit number. Now a lesson plan must have 3 segments, that is introduction, procedure and closure. Let me begin with introduction. Keep in mind that introduction should not exceed more than 5 minutes. Alright. So, the teacher writes one sum on the board and randomly invites 5 learners and asks them to do the 5 steps one by one. As you can see on the screen, there is a multiplication sum which will be given on the board. Then 5 learners will be invited randomly and they will solve the steps one by one. Step 1. The first learner will multiply 5 by 6 once. As you can see, it gives us 30, right? Then step 2. The second learner will multiply 5 tenths by 5 and then add the carryover to it. The result which we get is 280. Then step 3. The third learner will first insert a 0 at the extreme right, then multiply 6 ones by 8 and the result that we get is 280. The fourth learner will multiply 5 tenths by 8 and then add the carryover to it and the result that we get the second. Now the step 3 goes like this. The third learner will insert a 0 at the extreme right and then multiply 6 ones by 8 and the result that we get is 80. And then step 4, the fourth learner will multiply 5 tenths by 8 and then add the carryover to it and the result that we get is 4480. And in step 5, the fifth learner will add both the rows, that is 280 and 4480, and the final answer that we get is 4760, that is 4760. Now this was a typical regular multiplication method. This was essential to begin the class with so that the learners can recall the multiplication by a 2-digit number. Note that the teacher can ask the learners to use 3 different colored chalks for all the 3 rows. The reason why I am saying to use 3 different colored chalks is that it will make the 3 rows look distinctive and also it will look colorful and attractive for the children to show interest in learning. Okay, now remember that whatever is done in introduction is basically used to recall the concept that has been learnt in the previous class so that they can link it with the knowledge that the teacher is going to deliver in the present session. For example, in this session the children are going to learn about multiplication by 3-digit number. So what the teacher has done in the introduction, she has recalled the concept of multiplication by a 2-digit number, okay, which they already knew. This was their previous knowledge, and now the teacher says that they already know how to perform multiplication of a 2-digit number by a 2-digit number. Today we will learn how to perform multiplication of a 3-digit number by a 3-digit number. Okay, so this is how the teacher will introduce the topic and warm up the students for the lesson to follow. Then comes the procedure, which should not exceed more than 30 minutes. The teacher writes the question in the class, how will you multiply 3 digits, students? For example, she writes the sum on the board, 365 into 241. Now listen, always whenever you write a question on the board, do not start immediately solving the question. Always wait for the learner's response, elicit answers from them and then explain the method. Okay, so here also the teacher waits for the learner's response and then explains the method of multiplication. Step 1, she says, here you can choose any number as the multiplicand and the multiplier. Okay, the teacher explains that since here both the numbers have the same number of digits, any number can be chosen as a multiplicand and any number can be chosen as the multiplier. Let us take 365 as the multiplicand and 241 as the multiplier. Then arrange them in vertical columns as you can see on the screen. Then step 2, the digit in the ones column of the multiplier is 1. First multiply 365 by 1 and we get 365 right in the first row. Then step 3, we have to multiply 365 by 4, but we have to place 1 0 in the ones column of the second row, right? So here we get 365 into 4, we get 1460. So write the product in the second row. Then the digit in the hundreds place of the multiplier is 2. We have to multiply 365 by 2. In this case, place zeros in the ones and tens columns of the next row. So we get 365 by 2. We get the answers 730. So finally the second row, as we can see, is 73000. Then step 5, add these products to get the final answer. So as you can see, when the three rows were added, 365, 14600, 73000, we got the final answer as 87965, that is 87,965. Then the teacher asked the learners to compare the method of multiplication by a 2-digit and the 3-digit numbers. Okay, she asked them to compare the method of multiplication by 2-digit and 3-digit numbers. The teacher elicits the responses from the learners that in case of 3-digit multiplication, there is one additional step. That is, we also have to multiply the multiplicand by the hundredths digit of the multiplier. Again, I repeat, the difference between the two methods of multiplication, that is by 2-digit and 3-digit numbers, is that the students themselves will say that they have to, in case of 3-digit multiplication, there is one additional step. They have to multiply the multiplicand by the hundredths digit of the multiplier. The method is the same for 2-digit multiplication, except for the fact that the number of digits in the multiplier has increased. Okay, so let the children discover this on their own and come up with their answers. Remember, always encourage the learners to come up with their answers, because this will help them clear the concept more. Then after this, the teacher continues with an activity. She conducts a pair activity for which the teacher divides the class into pairs and instructs them to work as pairs. The teacher instructs them to name themselves as student 1 and student 2 respectively. The teacher projects the activity sheet on the screen or distributes the activity sheet to each pair and gives the following instructions to the pairs. Okay, now what are the instructions? Student 1 in each pair will solve the sums written below x, and student 2 in each pair will solve the sums written below y. As you can see on the screen, there are sums given below x and there are sums given below y. So the student 1 will solve the sums written below x, and student 2 in each pair will solve the sums written below y. Okay, first they will solve the sums which are given in the first row of the game. Okay, first they will solve the sums which are given in the first row, and then whichever learner gets the larger number will mark the game board anywhere within x or 0. I repeat, whichever learner gets the larger number will mark the game board anywhere with an x or 0. For example, if the learner 1 gets the larger number, then he or she will mark the game board anywhere with an x, since he is solving problems below x. Got it? So this way they will continue to solve the problems in rest of the rows in the similar manner. Whichever learner gets 3x or 3o in a row will be declared as the winner. Now this is a very interesting game for the pairs. This will be very enjoyable activity for them, because while they will playing the game which they already fond of, tic-tac-toe, they will also use the concept of multiplication and thereby have a thorough practice of it. Okay, so it is very important to inculcate activities in your lesson plans, because first of all, children enjoy doing it, and they include the concept that they have learned while doing that activity. Therefore, they adopt a practical approach, and by adopting a practical approach, they learn the concept better and more clearly. Okay, now once this activity is over, the teacher will assign few questions for classwork. As you can see on the screen, the teacher will ask the students to solve these questions in their notebooks. Teacher will move around the classroom while the students will be solving these questions. Teacher should guide the students who need help, and then comes the closure. As I said before, closure is very important to review whether the objective of the lesson has been achieved or not. That is, whether the lesson has been understood by the students or not. So here the teacher should always ask such questions and elicit answers from students, so that she understands how much this lesson has been understood by them. So the teacher writes the below question, as you can see on the board, and then teacher invites 3 learners randomly to solve the first 3 rows of multiplication using the method which has been discussed in the procedure, and then teacher invites a 4th learner to add the 3 rows to get the final product or the final answer. The rest of the class should check for their accuracy. The teacher appreciates the learners' efforts and the whole class gives a round of applause. Then, what is the learning outcome that should be achieved from this lesson plan? Well, firstly, the learner solves multiplication of a 3-digit number by a 3-digit number. The learner calculates quickly and accurately. The learner applies the knowledge of multiplication in developing personal confidence in the use of numbers. This is very important, that whenever a learner applies the knowledge of multiplication, it should develop a kind of personal confidence in the use of numbers, because this knowledge they have to apply while dealing with their daily life situations. Okay, so this is it, friends. I hope you have liked this lesson plan. If yes, then please give a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe to my channel, and also comment in the section below and let me know what kind of lesson plans you want, so that I can upload for you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.